So we're in week 2 now of my small account challenge, and I'm up 5% already, and it's only Wednesday of this week. So we're only midway through the week. I still have Thursday and Friday left, and I wanted to make sure and get this update out to you guys before I go out of town on Thursday. So we still have Thursday and Friday left of trading, so my stats could increase by that time, so keep an eye on the account. So we're up 12% total since I started the account challenge 2 weeks ago, and so we're doing pretty well. The maximum drawdown has been just over 8%, so we're well under our maximum drawdown limit, which is 30%. So let's get into the charts, show you what trades I took, what I was looking for, and give you a rundown of how I'm using my Comeback Kid Manager software so you can get an idea of how I approach the market and how you can possibly copy my results as well. I want to give you a quick rundown of my stats for this week and overall on the account over the last 2 weeks. So 12.33% profit overall in the last 9 days. And last update I gave you was a 7% profit for the overall week with a 1.5% drawdown, which is really quite low drawdown. And I told you that it would probably go higher than that. And I did exceed 8.4 or hit 8.4%, which is still very much under my maximum drawdown limit for this small account challenge. That drawdown limit is 30%, so we're still very much under that. Okay, so we're looking at a profit of $126, and we still have 2 trading days left, so I might be able to squeeze out more profit for the rest of the week. I'm still tracking the account on MQL5 as my FX book is still being slow at verifying the account for the small account challenge. All right, so here is my main personal manual trading account at Trader's Way using the Comeback Kid Manager algorithm. And this has been going for 4 months now. I'm just starting into my 4th month, and I have just 6.21% drawdown, almost 14% profit. And this week is looking really pretty good at 0.78%. So I'm hoping to hit my target of, or my goal of 1% each week. So I'm really I'm quite close to that. And if I don't hit it, that's fine. If I exceed it, great. But overall, I'm looking at a pretty good consistent profit of almost about 4% each month over the last 3 months so far. So something that I wanted to tell you guys is there's a reason why the majority of people online, influencers or traders online don't show you a track record, is because it's really difficult to hold a consistent track record for 3 to 6 months or even 12 months. These are usually the thresholds that people meet, and it gets really difficult in the percentage of traders traders able to continue to be profitable past these thresholds is really difficult. So, for example, the 3-month mark is the first hump that people really struggle with. I believe that 3 months of consistent results, only about 30% of traders are able to do that. So that means that 70% of traders are not able to have a consistent track record beyond 3 months. And 6 months, it gets lower at about 90% of traders that fail at having a track record of 6 months. And then when it's 12 months, it's about 95% of traders that are not able to have consistent results beyond a 12-month mark. So I'm getting closer to that 6-month mark. I'm at 4 months now, and I'm looking at a really controlled growth on this account with really low drawdown, and obviously my balance is not really small at almost $35,000. So we're looking at a profit of $4,000, which is pretty good. All right, so overall consistent results, and the high risk or small account challenge is going very well on top of that. All right, so I wanted to show you FX Street. This is the new site that I use, and I think that this will be helpful for those traders that are constantly relying on Forex Factory for their news. Forex Factory is really slow. They don't show you a lot of data. A lot of times it's incorrect, and you don't get the news results for 30, 60, even 30 seconds, or even 60 seconds, or maybe even longer than that, sometimes 2 minutes before they can even show, depending on how overloaded the website is. So FX Street is really good at showing you exactly when that news comes out, and they get it to almost the second on the scheduled news that takes place. So I wanted to show you some of the scheduled news that was taking place just today on the USD. So scheduled news hasn't really affected the Forex market in a big way all beginning of this year, up until about May. and even last year as well. The predictions for, or the estimations for these news numbers were pretty spot on, and they would rarely exceed expectations or be well under expectations. But since we're in a post-pandemic, there's a lot of, the numbers are pretty skewed. We're having lopsided numbers, and it's causing a lot of volatility in the market, especially during a month of August that was supposed to be slow, considering that a lot of the banks and institutions are on holiday. But because of lopsided numbers and a lot of crazy things happening in Afghanistan in the pandemic, there's been a lot of a lot of interesting time or movements in the market that are pretty aggressive. So, for example, the ADP change that took place just today. So that was very lopsided on what was expected. With 613,000, it was 374. Last month was 326. So I'm not really sure exactly why the expectation was so high, but it was well below that, and that really caused the USD to have kind of a free fall today in the early session or the US session. There were some mixed data after that. That's the CAD, but there were some mixed data after that for the USD. This one was okay with the manufacturer PMI data being higher than expectation, but not by much at 59 compared to the 58. And so some of the other data was pretty mixed. Overall, the USD was struggling today, but it looks like it might be starting to have a bit of a pullback, which I'm actually targeting in my trading. So data right now, and the reason why I'm bringing up FX Street is because it's pretty important to be watching the data, especially when you're looking to trade in the markets. If you're a technical trader, that's great. Look at the price action and the candlesticks for hints on what's going to take place. But you also should be watching the news to see if that can help you and guide you in your positions that you're taking, so you can make better decisions based on your technical outlook as well. Okay, so let's get into the charts now and show you what positions that I've taken so far this week. All right, so the first things I want to start with are the trades that I'm currently in right now, so I can get those out of the way so you're not confused by the positions that you're showing down here at the bottom. All right, so I took a trade based on the inside candle up here at the top on the Euro US dollar. So the Euro US dollar has been riding up. The data for Europe has been good. The data for the USD has been not so great, causing this this move of about, I think, 60 or so pips on the upside. Yeah, 60 pips. And it did blow past the daily R1 level. And I use my Comeback Kid Manager algorithm, and it has 5 indicators that are included with it. You just click the buttons and they post on chart. It's really quite awesome. And one of my favorite indicators in this whole thing is the pivots level, or the pivots indicator. And it shows me 3 daily pivot levels on the support and on the resistance, and also the main daily pivot, which is right in the middle of all of the lines. It's a really helpful indicator. It shows you where the natural support and resistance levels are on the chart, and how price with the candlesticks reacts to these levels. And it's really helpful in guiding me, at least, on my trades when I go into the market. All right, so this one I was looking at the 60 pip push up, and this is usually what I look for when I'm counter trend trading. And it depends on the market. If the market is pushing excessively in one direction, then I'm going to look to counter trend trade. If the market pushes in one direction and has a pullback, then I'm looking to enter on the pullback with the trend. But I want to make sure that the pullback is big enough so I can have the best possible chance at the trend continuing in my favor. In this case, I'm looking to counter trend. The trend is up, and it has been moving up on the Euro US dollar, and actually made a new high. And so I'm looking for a good place to enter on a pullback within the US dollar. So I'm going to circle this one out here. Okay, so I'm looking at the inside candle right here. So I actually have the E and G candles indicator that shows me when specific candlestick patterns are taking place. I look for inside candles, I look for reversal candles, and I use them with and against the trend. And in this case, you can see that there was a reversal candle right here, and there was an arrow that was showing me that was taking place. There was an inside candle right here, and that was also showing me, and you can see that price did fall after that. So the inside candle at this point wasn't marked by my E and G candles indicator because there wasn't enough of pips between the top and the bottom. So I'm looking for this candle, this bearish candle, to be completely inside the previous bullish candle. And because it was a little bit tight from the top to the top of this candle, that's why I didn't get the indication. So there's filters within the indicator itself to help guide you on the best possible take. But since there was already a lot of movement that already took place, and I'm looking for a good pullback at this level of 1.855. And I thought that this was a good place to look for a pullback, considering that there was an inside candle and it's a half number. Half numbers and whole numbers are significant places in the market that you should be looking for to potentially enter trades on. And especially if they're around the support resistance levels here, it's really good to look at that as a further guidance to see if there are multiple indications that price will likely have a pullback or have a continue in its trending direction. In this case, we had a pullback, significant number of 1.185, a inside candle, a significant amount of price that took place from the European session, the US dollar session. So a good entry point right here, short position on the downside, looking for a pullback of around 30 pips on the Euro US dollar. So we'll see if that takes place. So far I'm in profit right now. It's not a lot. It's already mid US session, so things are starting to slow down. All right, so my position on the pound US dollar is looking much better. So we had the push up, same as like on the Euro US dollar, and not much of a pullback. There was a small one right here, but another significant push and hit the daily support or resistance point up here, the first daily resistance, and we had a bunch of indecision candles there at the top. So I'm going to zoom in to show you these indecision candles so you get a better idea of how I trade and what I'm looking for. So this is a reversal candle at the top, and it was right at the daily resistance, first daily resistance point, which is my pivots level indicator. And what I'm looking for with this candle is the new high, a solid body that closes below the open of the previous candle that was bullish, and that is a reversal candle, a rejection right at the daily resistance, our daily R1 level, which is, I'm going to see if I can bring this up so I can show you guys a little bit better what that looks like. All right, so it's the writing shows right here, it's flashing. It shows the daily is shifted, pivot points, showing us a reversal, a rejection at that level. So there was a couple more. There was this one here, there's this one here, this one here, also a full body, and this one as well. So there were multiple candles showing us that there is potential for downside at this point. Also showing me with my oscillator that there is a significant amount of price that took place and likely for downside to happen. Okay, so a pretty long description of my trades, but I want to show you some of the trades that I'm in right now. As an indication that these are not cherry-picked trades. These are actually all the trades that I've taken through the week, and I'm not hiding anything. As if I was hiding something, you'd see it in my results right here. The trade that I want to talk to you about is this one here on the Euro dollar. So this was a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 basket trade. So all these trades right here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. All those trades closed out for I realized averaging in profit right here at this point. So these two trades, or these three trades at the bottom, and this one too, were losses, and these three at the top were profit, and allowing me to come out with an overall gain, closing them all at the same time. So the reason why I trade like this using multiple orders and basket trading, using my Comeback Kid Manager EA, with the buttons and also with its auto trading function, so it's able to trade the market on autopilot as well. Trading very similar to what I'm showing you right here. It looks to enter the market multiple times because this is the Forex market. A lot of it's random. It's important to give ourselves more chances to come out into profit because we can't always be right on the first trade. Now, some people might say, well, when are you going to take losses? Everybody has to take losses, and that's very true. I have a maximum loss limit on this account of 35,000 of 15%. So if I have a loss of 15% on this account, I will cut for losses, and I'll look to recover the trades or the losses within a 3 to 4 month period after that loss is taken. My drawdown has been very, very low so far. I've only hit a max drawdown of 6% on this account. In most cases so far in the last 3 months, my drawdown has been under 2.5%. Okay, so the trades that I'm taking here were from last week. This was on August 27th, and I looked for a rejection to take place on the daily resistance 2 level, and it did take place, but it was at the very end of the week, which is a little bit unfortunate. I didn't get the pullback on the downside after my entry here. It did creep a bit further up, entered a second position, and the week ended. And that was unfortunate, so I was hoping that it would follow through after the new week started, but sometimes when there was rejections at the end of the week, they don't follow through, and the price did end up going a bit higher, falling a bit more. I almost closed out my trades here, not enough profit, didn't meet my expectations, and it climbed up even further than that. So entered a third position, didn't follow through, fourth, fifth, and sixth trades, and this is when it continued to ride up. And keep in mind that even at the very peak up here at the top, I was still only at 0.70 drawdown. So not even 1% drawdown at the peak up here with 7 trades. That's how I work my money management, and it's very controlled. So those of you that are wondering, is he using the default settings with this Comeback Kid Manager EA software? Yes, these are the default settings that I'm using. I'm just combining the buttons. So I'm doing a hybrid method here where I'm using the buttons and I'm using the auto trade function within the algorithm. So it's a team effort with the Comeback Kid and also my understanding of the technical side of trading and the fundamental side of trading as well. All right, so I was entering here, the Comeback Kid entered 3 auto trades by itself when I was sleeping at night. So they entered these 3 trades, and I entered this one on my own right here at the top. So I was expecting the market to fall, and this is where I'm going to show you my gold trades. Okay, so the reason why I'm going to show you my gold trades is because, or some of them, is because I was looking at this point in price. This is when, on the same time, on the 31st, when I was on in these trades on the Euro US dollar. So those were, you could probably think, well, how did you know when this is going to fall? Was he just lucky? I had an idea. I had some hints that there was a good chance that price would fall. So I had a rejection here after a push up on gold. And this was a pretty good indication that, well, okay, we're getting pretty close to the US session, and it's likely because of this rejection up here that price will probably fall. It was also near the daily R1 as well. So if I go to the H1, and you'll see that there are further rejections on that same day in that same area. So H1 rejection, H1 rejection here, and I even entered on the downside along with my trades on the Euro US dollar at the same time, and that fell. So the US dollar gained at that point, and you can see from the hints on the gold. And this is how a lot of times I run my trades. I look at 6 Forex major pairs for trading on using my Comeback Kid Manager EA, and then I also look at gold as well for hints for where the US dollar is going, the strength of the US dollar. I look at the other pairs, the Forex pairs, and I look to make a sort of bias based on what gold is doing and how gold is looking in gold versus US dollar, how it's looking comparison to my 6 Forex pairs that also include the USD. And so I'm looking at the structure, I'm looking at the fundamental side of trading to see if I can give myself a bias of where price is headed. And in this case, on the Euro US dollar, I was correct in my assessment, and price did end up moving down on the news of the USD. And I believe that this was even negative news, and it still fell down. So it was, that's sometimes the case. And that's another hint that I'm going to give you guys, is when you're trading any Forex pair, and price is moving up during the US session or during the European session, and it continues to ride up just before the US session. I'm meaning like 15 to 30 minutes before the big news comes out in the US. And price is continuing to ride up just before that news comes out. A lot of times that's an indication that price is going to basically go in the opposite direction right when the news comes out to throw traders, the retail traders off, and banks and institutions push price in the opposite direction a lot of times to throw off traders and to take profits from them. It doesn't always take place, but it's when price behaves in that way, this does happen, and it's how I use the news in my favor a lot of the time. And sometimes it doesn't even matter if the news is negative or positive. If it's riding up beforehand, it's likely to start shooting back down in the opposite direction right after that news takes place. So a hint on how to work the fundamental side of news based on what price is doing just before it, okay? All right, so I want to show you guys now some of the other trades that I took on gold during the week, because they were pretty quite nice positions. So the first trades that I took, let's see, were based on the 1 hour chart. So up here at the top, I'm going to zoom in a bit. Okay, so this is a reversal candle, and this is also shown it with my E and G. There was an inside candle right here just before it. It wasn't very strong. I didn't want to use that as an indication. I was also late on seeing this pattern, this reversal candle. And the reason why this reversal candle is so prominent to me is because it is where it was placed. Previous day, it was a resistance point at that point, resistance R3. And there was a reversal candle. There was also a lot of price on the upside at that point, especially from here to here. So this point down here, all the way up to here. So a lot of bullish candles and a pretty aggressive move on gold. And then we had this reversal candle at the top. And I entered a little bit late. It went down a little bit, came back up, and I entered here. So I took this position late because I knew just how dominant the potential for this candle actually was on the 1 hour. So I took that trade, and I think I got about 30 pips on that. And this was another short position that I took just after that. And this one was based still off of the aggressive rejection up here at the top. So I took this one, profit, took this one again based on this candle, thinking that there was still more potential on the downside, and I was right. And that one took about 20 pips there, took about 15 pips on this one. And then I took a small break even based on this trade right here. I actually ended up re-entering into the, actually no, this was a small loss of about 0.03%. So this trade was a small loss, not a big deal, and entered again. This was a 60 pip profit on this trade, and I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. 60 pip profit, yep, 65 pips. So I saw the rejection happen. So we had here to here on this point, rejection, rejection, rejection at the daily pivot level, indication that there could be some bounce here. And there was enough of a pullback from here to the top to this point for a good continuation on the upside. And so that's why I was able to capture that with a trailing stop. Thank you, Comeback Kid Manager EA, because I was able to sleep. And this went just into a trailing stop, and I was able to lock in 65 pips while I was taking a rest. So that's awesome. So this one is the next trade that I took, and based on this rejection at the daily R1. And I'm still looking at the bigger picture of this entire move. And the bigger picture is still this 1 hour candle I hit up here at the top, showing me that this is still the dominant move. Small scalp here on the top side, bearish indication, rejection, bearish candle on the rejection, fall on this side. And this was on the 31st, and that's the same time that I was able to lock in profits on the Euro US dollar. Okay, so so far I've been pretty quiet on the gold versus US dollar, but there was this indication right here on the daily pivot level, and it looked nicer on the M30. I ended up not taking it because I just didn't like how there wasn't a lot of pullback from here to here. It was at the daily pivot level, but just not enough, and I could have been able to lock in about 15 pips profit on that. But I'm looking at more of the bigger picture from the US dollar overall. And the US dollar has been struggling today. It was mixed. It was struggling earlier in the session today. It started to become mixed later. And now it's starting to have a little bit of a pullback at this point. And this is taking place, we're seeing it more on the pound US dollar right now. I suspect that the Euro USD will follow as it's kind of consolidating at this 1.185 level. So we'll see if it continues to fall back down at that point. But overall, guys, looking really good. The last thing I want to show you is my trade on the US dollar Japanese yen. So this was a rejection here at the top, inside candle. Thought this might push down. Didn't take place. It creeped back up. When I was sleeping, the Comeback Kid actually entered 3 more positions. 1, 2, and 3 while I was sleeping. Shot up against During the European session, the US dollar was struggling, and then we hit an inside candle at the peak, right here at the top. That is when I entered a manual position on my side using the buttons. Right here, I sold and entered another manual position, and it was still really close to the auto position that the comeback manager took at the daily R2. So this was a significant level. So R2, comeback kid even entered its trade, and inside candle at the daily R2, even with my candle, the ENG showing me that there was a dominant inside candle up the top, and that I waited for the candle to close, enter the second position, had two close together, came back down. US dollar session came in. The news was against the USD with the numbers earlier in the day, and that's when it fell in a big way, and I was able to come out with a pretty good amount of profit, about 0.22% profit on this trade. All right, guys, that's pretty much it for the rundown of the small account. We're looking at 12% profit overall. Still have 2 more days. Let's see if I can get this to 15% by the end of the week, and see how next week goes. Hopefully we can hit around 20 to 30% for the month of September. All right, thanks for watching. See you on the next one.